Let's see. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. I can't hear you. So hold on. Oh, that's
Is
why.
how are they gonna how are we
Can you hear
gonna
me? Okay.
how they gonna be able to see it from the
Test one
YouTube?
two one two.
Perfect, because it's on there. Okay.
All
So,
right, I got a check. Hold on.
okay.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Check. I
it's
had a
on.
little echo at first. I had a little echo, but it's gone now. So
It's gone.
yeah, is there any way you can change the like the resolute? I mean the how the boxes are sized?
Yeah, let me try. Um,
Ah,
that
perfect. There it is.
whoop,
There
Yeah,
there
it is.
it is.
What's up, Cal?
man.
What's going down, yeah?
Good, boy.
Okay, so we in there like swimwear.
Okay, so y'all on the laptop?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, rock and roll. What happened with Streamlab? What y'all ran into?
I think it's just the computer, because the type of computer that we have.
Okay, the app didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, it wasn't compatible. So it was,
Operating systems and stuff like that.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it says still waiting for you.
No, that's not the right one. You
Oh,
got to go out of that. It's,
wait.
yeah. So yeah, I guess we can get started.
Yeah.
I
Let's
don't
do
know
it.
if I don't think
My head is sort
anybody.
of kind of.
I'm gonna
I'm
try.
taller than you anyway, so.
yeah.
Yeah, that might be why. Let me try to scoot it back a little bit. That might help. Can you come this way? Is it this way? Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's no echoes coming on y'all end.
No,
Nuh-uh.
Okay, cool. All right,
we're good.
I'm good over here too.
All
Yeah,
right,
it sounds
cool.
good. It's crisp.
So we don't have anybody in the chat yet from what it looks like,
Hmm.
but we can still go ahead and get started.
We just gotta act like you know what I mean. So
That's
that's
right.
what I when I'm streaming, like I'm still talking like it's people there. So when they come
Right.
on, I
Right.
just roll on in with it.
All right. So now that we got all the technicalities straightened out and all that together, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So it's your girl Katie, aka your sister from another mister,
And it's your boy Duke, aka your brother from another mother.
here with BLACKVISIONVILL. We have our special guest today, Mr. Platboy
Black
Plays.
boy.
What's popping? What's
What's up,
popping, man?
man?
What's popping?
What's
What's
going
going
on
on?
with you?
Not too much, man. I'm in a good place in life right now, so it's
Amen.
I'm really chilling. Like,
Nice.
That's what's up. So you are our first guest on our first episode of the Black Table Talk. So
Very first
shouts out to you
episode.
for that, for being our first guest on our podcast. So just to give a little quick background here, what we do on the Black Table Talk is a safe space where members in our Black community can come together and talk about our mental health from the Black experience, things that we have gone through, still going through, and overcame, helping to end the stigma of Black mental health in our melanated communities. So, with that being said, I just want to touch on real quick what is mental health. So, mental health is our emotional, psychological, and social well being. It is how we think, feel, and act, and it helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices.
What where'd you get that them stats from?
That information came from Think About Mental Health. It's mentalhealthfit.org. So that's where that definition of
Nice. Okay.
what mental health is came from.
oh,
Okay.
we got stats, huh?
We
Nice.
do.
Fact, factual
Excellent.
information.
Yes,
Excellent.
sir. So, with that being said, I am going to let you take the floor and just kind of um, talk about your experience from the Black experience when it comes to mental health and things either you have dealt with or a loved one have dealt with. Before I go there, I forgot to also say, please follow Platboy Plays. You can find him on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook.
Yes, sir.
All
And
right.
smash that like button when you come in and subscribe.
Yeah. So, okay. When you say mental health,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have like a personal experience that I can bring up to
That's
where, I was like, okay, that was a mental health issue right there. You know what I
mm,
mean? But I do experience things where I'm stuck in the type of decision I make. You know what I mean?
yes.
Like, should I do this because of a stereotype or avoiding a stereotype or
Right.
things like that? Or when I walk in the grocery store and the white lady pulls her kids closer and grab and clutches a purse harder, or you know what I mean, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like I feel like those may be situations I ran into, but
Yes.
I'm more here today to learn and to uh, comment based on the ideas that we have. And I have a situation where I got a person I know,
Mhm.
what I mean, that went through a situation that I think would qualify for this episode. But
Okay.
basically, this is me. I'm a gaming content creator, like I always tell y'all. But we can talk about anything. You feel what I'm saying? So
Yes,
Right.
it's
sir.
this is dope, and thank y'all for having me.
Yes, thank you
Absolutely,
for
man.
being here. We really appreciate you. And with that being said, that's definitely something that I also wanted to touch on, that members of our ethnic and racial minority groups in the U.S. face a social, economic, and environment of inequality that includes greater exposure to racism, discrimination, violence, and poverty, which all take a toll on our mental health.
Absolutely. Now, you want me to go into the meat and potatoes of the situation? It's my
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
Yes, we
So
want to
okay,
hear your experience if it's when it comes to dealing with your brother and your experiences as far as mental health goes. That
right.
floor is yours.
Mhm.
This is an issue. These are one of those moments where, when we talk about mental health, and as black people, we got this phrase like, he done lost his mind.
Right.
We always say that, man, he losing his mind. He going
Mhm.
crazy. Stuff like that. So my brother was in a marriage for a long time, maybe probably 5 to 7 years. I don't know the exact number, but I guess it crumbled down to the point where he got divorced. The wife divorced him. And okay, leading up to it, just listen to me because I'm gonna say some crazy stuff real quick.
Go. The
Go
floor is
ahead,
yours. We
speaker.
listen.
Go ahead. Yeah,
this
speaker.
is this is one of the things that happened. The wife, I had a personal conversation with her, right? But this is after the divorce, and I was like, I noticed my brother acting weird, and so I called her to see what was going on. This is after the fact. And she told me that she would wake up in the bed sometimes and he's like standing over staring at her.
Oh
Ooh.
no.
That's one strike. And then
First red flag.
yeah, and then he also she has two older kids of her own. They're adults now. They're like at least 19, going
Mhm.
on 20, somewhere in that range. And he asked one of the stepsons to go online and look up how to build a bomb so he can blow up his brother's truck.
Oh
Now
wow.
Mm.
this is stuff that people told me, that she told me.
Hmm.
That was another thing. So he also said the government has his phone tapped.
Mhm.
So all this stuff going on, and I'm thinking like we can't have the same dad.
Right.
You know what I mean? But uh, so all that's what I got from her when I talked to her. After that, conversation I had with her, he would always ask, because she moved to like Lafayette, Louisiana,
Mhm.
and we live in Orange, Texas, which is like a 2-hour drive. to Lafayette. So he had a truck and he was going back and forth uh to Lafayette to try to find her or whatever. And
Oh.
she put a restraining order. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he went to where she was living and she moved. Then he kept going to like the mom and dad house. They're separated, but they both live in Lafayette. So he would go to their houses to like try to find her. And he always would say, I just want to see my son. They got like a 4 or 5 year old kid together. He may be 5 now. But she put like a restraining order on him, and uh he couldn't go like get the kid from daycare or go up there where the kid was. So he had those situations came about with restraining orders and stuff like that. So he continually went over there after receiving a restraining order, and then he lost his vehicle because through all that he stopped working. He stopped having drive of like taking care of himself, working, paying bills and stuff. So he lost his vehicle, and then he would say like you know he'll be with me and the other brothers, and we hanging out chilling, and he'll say like if I say, hey, I'm gonna go to the store, he would let me ride with you. Okay, no problem, ride. Then when we're in the car going to the store, we go to the store, get what we get, and get back in the car. He'll say, man, can you bring me to Lafayette? Like what are you talking about? This 2 hours away and we hanging out with the brothers right now. So constantly he was going through that.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of that, also they used to stay in the neighborhood, and in the time we live in now, that he thinks he thinks that his wife, because he couldn't find her in Lafayette after the restraining order, right? She didn't relay that information, address, stuff like that, and the parents didn't tell him, so he couldn't find her out there. But somewhere in his mind, he was going back to the old neighborhood, to a house that they said they used to live in, which they didn't, and knocking on people's doors like, "Is my wife here?" Like
Mm-hmm.
he was saying, he got arrested there in that neighborhood because people like, hey, this on Facebook. I open up Facebook one day and they say, "Do you know who this guy is?"
Oh
Like
wow.
blah blah blah, and a bunch of people comment, "Yeah, he came knocked on my door and this
Mm.
and that, and I think he's crazy. He's losing." And I'm like, man, this is my brother.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we're going through with that. I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm learning. Like,
Right.
is he going through a mental health crisis, or was he? Because on the flip side, he went to Lafayette one more time and got like 90 days jail, right?
Mm.
So he got put in jail for 90 days. He got out. He got 2 jobs. And I heard yesterday that he got caught a ride to buy a truck or something like that. I haven't talked to him since because I didn't want to go through. I'm a person like, talk to me when you get a little bit better, because I
Right.
tried on the way to the point where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So my door is open for him now. But
Right.
me working and streaming and content creation, and so I just haven't had time bringing the kids to work. All the my life,
Right.
and that's what I'm asking, because I'm a learner right now. Like,
Right.
is he going through a mental health situation, and can we compartmentalize, because mental health is a broad
Spectrum.
category, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's a broad category. Like, can we put it in perspective to where he's going through, what category is he going through in the mental health spectrum? Because I know some people that are just plain crazy for real,
Right.
like, and they're not going through nothing. That's just
Right.
how they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out with him.
Right.
Right, and that's a good
And
question.
I would say, just from what you've said, I feel like, just personal opinion, I'm not a certified educated mental health therapist or doctor or anything, but just from the outside looking in, I would say, yeah, not only for one, being that he is a black man living in America, that can mess with anybody's mentality, at the end of
It's
the
a,
day. But for two, when you're dealing with somebody that you love and it doesn't work out, that can also have an effect,
Right. And just to add, he before all this happened, or before we knew about it,
Mhm.
stand up, hard working hustler. I
Mhm.
mean, 16-hour shifts, day after day after day. He opened a daiquiri shop that just blew up. Like,
Mhm.
but he lost all that when he lost the wife. So just so you know, he was a outstanding person at one point who had
Right.
Was he
none
ever
of these
in the
issues.
army or anything?
Say it again.
Was he ever in the army or
No, no, he wasn't in the army, but I mean, he was like an offshore worker. Then he ended up
Yeah.
getting a job at the place I worked at. But then he lost that job. He
Right.
lost the daiquiri shop. I'm talking about 5,000 cups in 2 months.
Mhm.
Daiquiri shop, like he
Yeah.
blew up, and he lost that. And
excuse me?
I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I would say that, you never know. I feel like mental health doesn't discriminate, definitely not by race, color, or creed, by your income. So, he could definitely be affected by that, and to have, mental health issues doesn't necessarily make you, crazy or unfixable or whatever the case may be. But I would say, just from personal experience, separating from the person that you love or were married to or spent your life with, to a certain extent, that can definitely affect your mental health. There's days where me and Calvin might have our issues, and that may affect the way that I conduct myself throughout my day. If we have a disagreement before I go to work, then I could go to work and be mad all day. So I feel like it definitely does. Um, I would say that he does, just from the sounds of it, sounds like there's a little bit of, paranoia in there, maybe some anxiety, probably dealing with depression, feeling, some type of way. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, how do we, as Black people, for our loved ones, how do we lend that support when there isn't a diagnosis to say, hey, this is exactly what's going on, or your loved one might not be down to go and see a therapist. And, for the Black community, that's what we hear a lot of the times when you're dealing with mental health issues, is pray about it or go to church. But what do you do when those things aren't enough? So,
Right.
just finding ways to be that support for him as best you can, to an extent. Like, for example, my oldest brother, he's strung out on drugs. Like, he's heavy in drugs, and I know mentally we didn't have the best childhood growing up, so he got a lot going on. So I see where that drug use comes into play. But he's someone that, for my safety, I have to love from a distance, because where his mind is right now with his drug use, my safety would be in jeopardy if I tried to go around him to offer assistance to him. So I think it's just about, like, finding that bottom line and that fine line of how can I offer support to my loved one in a way that's not only going to help them, but in a way that's not going to affect me and my life and spill over into
Right.
having me missing work, or having me fighting with my girl because he's over here in my neighborhood going door to door, or whatever the case may be. So it's
Let's
just
talk about that. Let's
Yes.
check this out. When you say support them the best way you can, right? And you got a good comment in chat that you can catch after this. But check this out. What if my best way to help them is to stay away from them? And let me say this too, because we fought over this before, like physically. Yeah,
Mm.
I whooped them, but we had we had
I just backed
we
up.
had a fight over this before,
right,
But so in that case, I might be helping them, like staying away for just a
right.
second, right?
So,
hmm
and even, helping him to just let it be known, like, talk about the things that you're seeing, the changes that you are seeing in him. Like, hey, I don't know how your brother is or how he would be upon, approach with things like that, but just to be able, because sometimes that's all you can do is ask that loved one, hey man, are you okay? What's going on? Because sometimes that's all it takes. For example, like with Twitch, I don't know if you heard about him. He was a famous DJ. He worked on the Ellen Show. a black man that took his own life.
I did.
That was completely, everybody in his family was like, that was completely, from family to friends to the public, just completely out of left field. Everybody was like, this was a shock, but if you stop and think about it, how many times, because of the personality he portrayed to the public, how many times did somebody stop and say, how are you doing today? Are you okay? What can I do to support you? Probably never had that, because everybody just assumed from the outside looking in that he was, a happy person, so it's just like I said, finding ways to reach out to that loved one. And even if it's just simply like, hey, what's going on with you? You went from working this great job and it seems like, everything is kind of crumbling for you. What can I do to help? you know
You're gonna read
my Corn's comment. She said it sounds like he had an episode of psychosis due to trauma and possibly some depression. And just personally, I know my she is a very good friend of mine. She is a licensed social worker, so she deals with people with mental health issues on a daily basis. So with that
And
being
that's a
said,
good point.
it's like trying to find out, educating ourselves as, loved ones and members of the Black community on what things like that look like. What does depression look like? What does psychosis look like? What does trauma look like? Because I feel like that's something that we can all say in our lives at one point and another, that we did experience some trauma, whether it be the trauma from that first stop you had when you got pulled over by a police officer, and how he treated you and made you feel like, you were beneath him, or that first instance where you were walking into a store and you got followed around the store, and how that affected you mentally. That can be traumatic, so I feel like the best advice from, like I said, just the outside looking in, would definitely be just to talk to your brother and just safely have a conversation, however that looks like for you, in person, over the phone, whatever, and just let him know, like, hey bro, I love you, and I'm worried about you. I've been seeing a change in you.
You should have counted to 10 before you went and fought your brother, bro.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, it was a right, left, and it was over. But you told me I'm a big boxing fan, so that
Right. So you got it down packed.
yeah, it should have been on pay-per-view. Nah, I'm playing.
That would have got some views.
But let's split it down based on this comment from is it my?
My.
I hope I'm not chopping you up, but
No.
okay. I'm gonna start with depression, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and don't judge me,
You're fine.
but I don't believe in depression. I,
Okay.
I don't believe it actually exists.
And that's a
Okay.
good okay.
But I think not letting myself be at my lowest moment, or not letting that take over
Right.
me, I think is what pushed me to be, a more open-minded, uh,
Right.
strong, uh, likable, confident
Right.
type of person. But this is the thing with the word. I'm just talking about the word
Mhm.
depression, because when I'm happy, there isn't a word that categorizes for being happy or
Right.
being okay or whatever is the opposite of depression. Now,
Mhm.
if I'm sad, that falls in that category with depression, right?
Right.
There's no word for happy that they categorize it. Now, I think depression, uh, if you can sell something for it, I think that makes it valid. You know what I mean? Like to the eye of like doctors and stuff. Oh, you're depressed. Take this pill.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? But there's
Yes.
no pill for being sad for a day, right?
Right.
So I think they categorize just being sad multiple days in a row, or
Yeah.
feeling down multiple days in a row. There's a fix for it. Here, take this pill. You won't be
Right.
depressed or feel sad or feel
Right.
locked down or feel caged in, or you know claustrophobic or something, like you
Mhm.
can't move. You're you know,
Yeah.
too much is on your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel about it. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist or people feel that way, but I feel like if you put too much energy into it, you
Right.
make it valid. You validate it when you
Right.
put, "Oh, I'm depressed."
Right.
Well, how do you know you're depressed and not just
Yeah.
sad for a moment?
Right.
Right.
You
And
know what I
that's
mean? So
yeah,
that's why I'm trying to. I like to, bring people up
Right.
and stuff like
Exactly.
that. So
find the
yeah,
medium.
Yeah.
right, right,
Hmm.
Because that's true. You do, you know, a lot of the times that is what the scenario is. We had, we were dealing with our own mental health experiences with our oldest daughter. That's one of the things that was like the go-to for the providers. They're like, yep, she's got depressive disorder, whatever it was, and we're going to put her on this pill, X, Y, and Z, and she'll be good. But, luckily, being educated and doing my own research, I had already known from previous um, learning about it before that when you put juveniles on antidepressants, it ups their chances of unaliving themselves higher than normal because it's something in the pill that they are given in certain medications, not all of them, but certain medications, and the one they wanted to put my daughter on, it causes their they call them suicidal ideations to turn those thoughts into realities, and they end up unaliving themselves. So I was like, wait a minute,
right,
we're not going to just medicate her.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
was
another thing when it comes to dealing with providers being, in the melanated community, because we have a history when it comes to doctors and distrust just because of the way that our community has been done in the first place. When it came to things like the experiments where they were intentionally injecting us with syphilis, and how they had a study that came out that showed when it comes to Black Americans that doctors, because of the color of our skin, they don't tend to believe the amount of pain that we can sometimes be in.
right,
So you definitely have to be an advocate for yourself and be able to find other alternative than just, oh, medication, 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 because there are other things you can do when you're, feeling not so much, one call it depression, but having those bad days, feeling sad, and those bad days turn into bad weeks and bad months. There are things you could do. You're just like you said, your mentality, that's your mental is a amazing muscle. Our brains are amazing, and you can definitely control the narrative of your life by just how you think. When you're waking up and you're saying, I was sad yesterday, but I'm not going to be sad today,
right.
and clinging to that and not allowing what, people might try to instill in you, like, oh, you're sad, you're depressed, and
right,
clinging to that, like, well, the doctor said I'm depressed, so I'm depressed. So then you're, going out throughout your day, through your life, like, oh, I'm depressed, so I have to act a certain way, and not clinging to that, but doing things like you said, like, yeah, I feel sad today, but this is just, a
Do you,
thought, or whatever the case may be, to help you get through that. Because sometimes you do have to talk yourself out of it. Sometimes
right.
there isn't providers or pills or somebody that you can depend on. Sometimes it's you looking in the mirror and saying, like, hey, I'm not going to be sad today.
Do
You
you
know,
think that sometimes pills help people, or do
I think it really depends on the person, on how the
like
medication
the age,
works.
or
I really do. Like for,
if they're older?
Platboy Plays, like you
let
say.
me let me say this. Let me say this. Yes, Calvin. Yes,
Okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
think so because of this. Right.
Hmm.
When I have a headache and I take something for the
Mhm.
headache usually goes away. Right.
Right.
So in that form, it works. But like say like depression or stuff like that,
Mhm.
it's more addictive. Right.
Right.
So even if okay, it makes you feel better when you take it, and now you're stuck on it. Remember, the doctors are just trying to they make money off the continuation of what the services they give you. Now, if
Right.
they cured you, there would be no reason to go back to the doctor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the money flow cuts off at that point. But even if it's not addictive, your mind will make it addictive. Like, okay, I
Yeah.
feel better when I took this, so
Now,
Yeah, like
see,
a
I
placebo
had
I
effect.
need it. I
They call
need it.
that.
Just like
right,
a drug addict, I need it. Even though
Yeah.
they don't need it, they
right,
just they gotta have it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
and
So,
that's just like my uncle. He's really slow. You know,
mhm,
and he don't take medicine. But he's got to have bud every day.
mhm,
Every day, he's got to have some type of smoke. And if he don't get it, his mind consciously goes from being a normal person to literally being slow or not there following concept, until he's smoking. And then he's like, okay,
sharp
now,
as a tack.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
but he's
that's we.
slow. He's really slow though,
I
and
understand. Yeah, that's it's really
and
can we agree that we all have our vices?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, okay. I was a heavy cigarette smoker, right?
Mhm.
yeah,
Like if I didn't have cigarettes, stop everything. I gotta go to the store.
Right.
yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like now, uh, I've been vaping or whatever, and
Mhm.
it's quelled it. Like I haven't smoked a cigarette in 2 years or bought a pack in 2 years. Which don't know. Congratulations, because I'm just doing the lesser of two evils.
Right.
You
right,
know what I mean? So, like, I understand that people have their vice. So
Right.
don't get it twisted on. I don't believe like
Right.
me not believing in depression. That's my belief, not
right,
to
Right. Not
blanket the
right,
whole
right.
situation.
You
I
per-
understand people go through stuff that I
right.
don't understand.
Right.
You know what I mean? That,
Yeah.
like
mm,
I can't if
Relate.
I don't experience it, I can't understand it. No
Right.
matter if I think I know what I'm talking about. Like I don't know what it feel like for a woman to have a baby, but
Right.
I know what it's like to have a baby.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
that's
So
deep.
it's
Yeah,
Just
like
yeah. And
it's just weird. Like I can't tell the woman like, come on, push through. You got it. I have no
right,
clue. You
right.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
I
right.
And
never experienced it, the pain or anything like that. I don't know what to tell her. I could just say like, "Come on, you got it." But I'm
Right.
probably saying she probably want me to shut the hell up.
right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I feel that, and I feel like that definitely goes back to us as a whole. You hit it right on the head. Unless you have gone through it, then you can't really relate, and that's what I feel like with us as a community when it comes to mental health and the stigma that surrounds that, especially in our community, because like I said, our therapy is prayer, our therapy is church, our
That's good.
therapist is our pastor, our medicine is liquor, weed, different
Cigarette.
drugs, cigarettes, so being able to have those conversations and being able to realize, like, definitely, with that being said, we have to do what we can to not only educate ourselves, because nobody's going to teach us about it. Don't nobody want the black man to be right mentally. Don't nobody want the black woman to be right mentally, because the stronger you are mentally, the more you're going to do in life, the more powerful you become, because your mental health is just as important as your physical health, and they're definitely connected. So don't nobody want that black body being intelligent, so they're not going to teach us things like that. So that's why it's up to us as a community to not only educate ourselves on what mental health is, what different forms of mental health illness can look like, but how we support each other, how we help each other get through those bad days. So figuring out things that you do in your everyday life when you do have those feelings where you're not okay, and how you navigate through that, and using that to maybe help your brother or help somebody else, just like you said, the things that you do when you're feeling some type of way, you
Right.
know.
Keep going, keep going. I'm just sharing the stream, baby.
Well, I was gonna say
And
with that.
Angie's comments. She
Okay,
commented,
let me see what Angie said real
and
quick. Let's
that's
get
true.
to
That's what she said
get
as
to
well
some of the
too.
comments. Praising God through the storm. Depression isn't
Beautiful.
just a feeling. Let's see. Sorry, Angie. Depression isn't just a feeling, it can be feeling alone or isolated from everyone, and insomnia or oversleeping and leading to eating disorders.
Disorder.
That's
Yeah.
that's
And
exactly
that,
correct, and
yeah.
again, that's why it's important to,
What the Bible say
educate
about overeating.
educate yourself, and so you can recognize those signs when you do have family members or even yourself going through that. For example, with our oldest daughter, she's 17 now, but in 2015 my mom passed away suddenly, and I had my 17-year-old when I was 16 years old, so I was a young mom. My mom did not raise my daughter. I raised my daughter, but she had a lot to do with the young lady that she grew into be, because you can only do so much for your child when you're a child yourself. So
Yeah.
my mother, being that adult in the room, she definitely had a role in the responsibilities
Yeah.
that came with making sure that my daughter grew up in a safe, happy, and healthy, loving home. And when she passed away in 2015, I didn't really, thank you. I didn't really look at my daughter because she was a child. I didn't really think that it affected her the way that she did. I was just worried about how it affected me. I
Right.
just thought, she's a kid, she'll be all right, but she wasn't. And that's not something that I had to come to, head to head with until she tried to unalive herself in 2017, and that's where our mental health journey began, was because of her, and having that understanding that we did miss those signs, like Angie said, of her isolating herself and wanting to sleep all the time and not wanting to eat and always being down. I just assumed like it's because she was going from elementary to middle school, and how our kids are, they have that change of going, having that certain level of innocence and elementary, and then they get to middle school and it's a totally different ball game, so they lose some of that innocence that they had in elementary school. So I just
Yeah.
assumed it was from that, and didn't see the signs, didn't even recognize them until she tried to take her own life. And then after that happened, that's when we started learning about what depression was and anxiety was and things like that. And we were adults, and having to come to that realization that, this was something that we were dealing with, and we had to decide how we were going to handle this, and not knowing which way to turn, because that's not something that we were familiar with, you
Right.
know. But to
Mhm.
be able to go through that and, see those changes in her before and after she did things like individual therapy, us going to, family counseling, it definitely made a difference, and I feel like the
Trying to keep
biggest
that smoke off the camera.
the
My bad.
biggest hurt that we went through was from our loved ones and our community, because again, when it comes to therapy and medicine and things like that, we're always told like, oh, that's palm people stuff, we don't deal with that,
Yeah.
you go to church, you
Yeah.
pray about it, but again, what do you do when prayer isn't enough? Because I prayed for my daughter when she was in the hospital, and while I'm not saying that, not discrediting our Lord, but at the same time, that wasn't an immediate fix.
Right.
You
Did remember when I said you know, not necessarily that prayer doesn't work, it just doesn't
right,
happen as soon as you ask for it. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So
What do
that's
you do
that,
then? With that being said, what do you do then? How do you
Patience
handle?
is a virtue
just
because
imagine how life would be. Just imagine how life would be if you
Right,
prayed and got exactly what you asked for right when you prayed for it.
right,
right.
None of us would be starving. None of us would be hurt. We would
right,
be
And a lot of people
immortal,
praying too,
didn't
because some
die. You know what I mean?
yeah,
praying to kill people. Let's
right,
Yeah,
just mother die
right,
type
right.
shit, you know.
And Calvin, I'm gonna tell you this. She built for it, bro. This her lane right here.
Yeah.
You feel me? She
Oh
built
yeah.
for it. You got you one. She built for it, and this her lane right here.
Absolutely.
thank
Support,
you.
man, support.
Absolutely.
This I wanted to talk about Angie's comment with about feeling alone or isolated.
Uh-huh. I'll put it
Uh,
back up there. Let me.
and what's up, Angie's my mod, just so y'all know. That's my moderator on all my streaming
Support
channels.
Angie for sure. You got to give her that applause button, boy.
Yeah, yeah. All my
You
streaming
got
channels,
the sound
Angie's
effect.
a moderator on there. So yeah, you know what I'm saying. When Angie in the building, game over in the chat. You feel me?
Hey.
But okay, isolation. Let me get that back right.
Okay.
Uh, oh, I hit the chat. Show chat. There we go. Get it right. Um, what's y'all definition of feel like isolation? Because check this out. My family is like barbecuing and drinking beer at my grandma's house right now. But I chose to be here in this room by myself
Thank you.
today. Like,
Uh,
but
uh,
I don't feel isolated. I'm not.
Right.
Uh, you know what I'm saying? Like when I'm alone,
you're
that's when
doing,
my best shit come out when I'm alone. You feel
Right.
me?
and that's the
So
same
that's
with yeah.
yeah.
That's the same. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's that's the same thing with me too because um my lady would be like, you want to go to this barbecue? Cousin April's throwing a barbecue, and I'd be like, what they doing over there? Drinking, chilling, listening to music. Think about it. And then I'll end up doing something like you. I'll be playing the game or watching TV because that's where I want to be in my comfort zone, you know,
Right.
and just and do me and understand who I am, by myself.
Right. So is that okay?
So I wouldn't
Because
take.
he opened up another door though. He
Yeah.
just closed
Yeah,
the door and didn't really.
To go
Uh,
to your question of what I don't feel like what you're doing is isolation as far as when it comes to
and I don't
mentally
feel like it's
goes,
being.
because it's not something that you're doing because of how you feel right now you
so is it
know
isolation as in nobody else want to deal with me?
I
No,
think it
Because
could be.
that's the thing. Like I say, I like being alone a lot, but I
Mhm.
don't. I'm a outgoing person, so I don't mind being around people. But I like being alone more than being around everybody.
people.
Right.
You see
Right.
what I'm saying? But
And
so when he said his comfort zone, this is what I'm saying. When
mhm.
he mentioned being in his comfort zone, uh, is that the only comfort zone you have when you're by yourself? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
is that may be a form of isolation though?
it can be, but I feel like I want to touch on Angie's comment here where
Yeah.
she said isolation can be in a room full of people and still feel like you're not connecting with anybody around you, not just being alone. So I feel like right now in this moment where you're at, you're physically isolating yourself,
But
because of
not.
what you're doing, but it's not like what Angie's definition of that would be is what I would say as well. That is when it gets to the more mental
Okay. So it's
aspect
not.
of things.
We're not talking about physical state of being. We're talking about the mental place that you're put in
Exactly.
at the.
Exactly. And I feel like Angie said that perfectly. That's exactly, for me
Right.
personally, that would be
That's
my
not the point.
definition of isolation.
That's the
Is
point.
definitely like that. You're in a room full of people and you feel like you're alone, and you got
So
so
it's okay. Not visual, not physical, just the way you feel
mentally,
mentally. Oh, come on.
mentally,
Okay,
yeah,
I got you.
Right.
yeah.
You feel me? I'm a learner. Like I'm not afraid to say I'm
Yes,
learning some
we
stuff.
all are. It's the
Yep.
more you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like that would be the definition 100% because that was something that our daughter told us all the time when we were dealing with her mental health issues and on her mental health journey, supporting her. That's something that she would say all the time is I just feel so alone. I feel like nobody cares about me. I feel like nobody loves me. I feel like I don't have
And all
anyone
along we did.
to
Yeah.
talk to. I feel like grandma was the only person that I could go to, and now she's not here, So trying to figure out like how can I make you feel like you're not alone because that's hard to do, especially when us as humans, I feel like we look at things from a physical what we can see. So it's like, how does your brain interpret when another human being is surrounded in a room full of people and they're telling you, I feel alone? You're like, what? You got so many people around you. What do you mean you feel alone? But it's having that understanding, because just because that's not something that you necessarily have experienced or had to deal with, that's their reality. And your perception, I tell my daughter that all the time, your perception is your reality. If that's what you perceive, that's what it's going to be for you. So, again, just providing that support and opening up that door to that loved one to be able to say, I heard you when you say that you feel alone and nobody's here for you. How can I help you? What can I do? You know.
Right.
Man, that's okay. Look at me learning something today.
Look at me talking like I'm a
Yeah,
doctor.
you hear? I can't stand y'all, man. I can't stand y'all. But
This
yeah,
is
it's
all education purposes. No, I'm just kidding.
well, look, Calvin, I bet you won't
Yeah.
miss too many of them barbecues.
Huh?
I bet you won't miss too many of them barbecues.
No,
Oh
I
no.
was.
I'm gonna make some of. We gonna
Uh
get it
huh.
in. We gonna get it in. But
Heck.
I think like saying that like gatherings,
Mm-hmm.
those are like, I like being by myself a lot, but I feel like gathering is important. Like
Right.
with people that you like, or have the same values, or just the camaraderie of
Right.
being with people. Like you off work, you
Mm-hmm.
want to kick it, you want to see your homeboys or homegirls, and you want to cook something, or you want to just gather. I think that is a medicine for people that feel depressed and stuff like
Absolutely.
that, because you learn a lot. Like a lot of times, I when I was doing bad, like I would hang out with my friends, and my next job lead or something like that would come from just going to the barbecue or going, to the park, and the boys got their kids at the park, and we all bring our
Right.
kids to the park or something. And then I
Yeah.
get a job lead, apply and get the job or something like that. Like
Right.
it's benefits in being around people. So
Right.
I think that's a medicine for that's free, and it's not addictive also. So
Right.
I think that's something that people need to do, is actually get out and get involved with things. Like I used to do a lot of community work out here with a group I had called Make It Happen. We
Mm.
used to
Right.
do a lot of stuff that was all like soothing to the mind and felt like I accomplished something. And I think that's the biggest thing, is the feeling of accomplishment over
Right.
all this. I think if you're knocking down goals, and you bringing people together, like a lot of the problems you have just dissolve, because
Right.
you're doing something so much more positive that you don't even feel or see the negative that's around you.
Exactly. And that, touching on what you said, that's exactly, 100% correct. You got to not only surround yourself around positive people, your family, your friends, but also people who understand what you are going through, just like, when it comes, for example, when it comes to you and Calvin, just the fact that you are both Black men in America, you two have something in common because of that. So there's certain things that he can touch on and speak on that you can relate to automatically, because you know exactly how he feels. You know the pressures when it comes to being a Black man in America and having to hold yourself to this certain standard, not only in your home, but outside of the home. So being able to connect like that and lean on each other like that, that's why it's, important for us as a community to recognize how much we really do have in common and support each other when it comes to those things.
I think let's say, like, okay, Calvin, if
Yeah.
have you ever went into a job interview and was like, man, they gonna see that I'm Black, and like
Yep.
I might not get the job or something? Like, you ever felt like that? Like, or you ever been in the lobby for an interview and you were the only Black guy in the lobby waiting on that
Yep.
interview?
Yep.
It's a cringe feeling. It's not bad. It's not good, because you don't know how the interviewer is going to react to you.
Yeah.
It's
I
just
just.
a feeling you have inside. Like, damn, it's a Chinese guy or two white guys, and
Hmm.
this guy looks like he from India. I'm Black as hell.
Right.
And
Right.
strike against us before we go
Right.
in just because
I had to
it's
save up and everything.
that's it.
You know.
So like walk in and just like, damn, like y'all here for the interview? You ask them like, what's up? Y'all here for the interview? And they be like, yeah.
Right.
It's like, damn,
And
Right. Yeah.
that's the
it's
same
crazy.
same here. I
Mhm.
feel the exact same way. My mom told me, because I was adopted by my adopted mother, the one that passed in 2015, when I was 9 months old. But when I got to a certain age, she told me that she changed my name from my birth name to the name that she had given me. And she told me that she did that because she wanted, when people saw my resume, for them not to be able to tell what color I was. Because she
And
said
that happened.
a lot of the times when you see those black names on the resume, you don't even get past the door. And I have to deal with that a lot because of my name. It's,
Yeah.
it's very proper, so to speak, but I'll get that a lot. Like, and plus, by the way, I'm very educated when I talk. So that throws people off too. So when I'm doing those phone interviews and then go in for those in-person interviews, and they're looking for, Catherine, they're like, they're like, wait a minute, you're
Right.
Catherine? And I felt like that so many times. I've had so many job interviews where I got the phone interview, got the job application. I never put my race when I apply for jobs. And that's why, because I always feel like that if I put my race on this job application, they're not going to hire me. So I always put refuse to answer. And the amount of job interviews that I've gotten since I stopped putting my race has been a night and day, but
Yeah.
I feel that too. I feel that same way, just having to deal with, like I said, being black in this country. There's certain things that you just have to deal with, and mentally that can mess with you and make you feel some type of way, because you're like, I'm trying to do the right thing when it comes to getting a job and providing for my family, and I'm being stopped because of something I have no control over, which is the color of my skin. I can't control that I was born black, but that can dictate what type of job I get, how much I get paid, how much or how little that I am worked,
Or if you get a job.
exactly,
It's weird. Like, come
Right.
on, man.
that
We
can
all
make,
we all judged on things that we cannot control.
exactly,
Like, we none of us chose to be born white, black, Indian, whatever, China. You know what I mean? None of us chose it.
right,
So just to have uh,
Ladies and
a
gentlemen.
predetermined idea for someone based on that is
right.
pure asinine.
Right.
So
And
like,
it's something that we have to deal with every day, So again, it's like, and then on top of dealing with things like that, we're dealing, with, more experiences with poverty. We're dealing with more experiences with violence. Just like, I don't know if you saw that video that we made with Calvin, but like he said, he saw his first body fall when he was 8 years old. Imagine how many other
I
black
heard.
men, young black men, black children deal with that every day on a daily basis, and not being educated on how we handle that, or if that's what even is that, when you're dealing with, for example, PTSD. We can say, especially in our youth living in areas where there is higher gun violence, they're going to have some sort of post traumatic stress disorder from that, from losing childhood friends, from hearing gunshots every night, you know.
Right.
okay. I'm trying to figure out what Rena's saying. She said even going to the doctor. You mean like the doctor would treat you differently?
Yeah, Renee
When you,
Russell, shout out to her. That's our sister in the building, and yes, she's saying, I believe, uh, Renee, you're saying that the discrimination you face going to the doctor. Am I correct when you're saying that? I
Salute JC in the building too.
my boy JC, what's going down, baby? Yeah.
think that's what she's saying.
Can I say things that I haven't
Yes.
experienced?
Yeah, she said, yeah. Uh huh.
I haven't experienced.
So there.
Okay, I don't want to sound like a coon or nothing like this. God dog it. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's situation is different.
Right.
I've experienced some racism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't experienced to where like I haven't experienced like the nigger racism.
Right.
Right.
I'm
But
trying to
Right.
make it make sense. Like
right.
nobody has come up to me and be like you N word or whatever
Right.
like that,
And there's
or
Oh,
a
but I
lot.
got spit on. I wasn't never called a nigger, but I was spit on.
that's worse.
Right.
Ouch.
That's worse. Spit
Oh,
slap is it's like this. It's spit slap N word. That's
right.
Mm-hmm.
the levels. Like you know
Mm.
what I'm saying. Don't do any of those three to me. That's
Right.
Right.
but you can call me the N word and run away and I can't catch you. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But if you spit on me or you slap me, I'm on your ass.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
feel
yeah.
what I'm saying? You can say something from across the street and run away and I can't
And,
get to you.
know,
But if a spit or a slap, I'm on you. Like it's instant.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I haven't experienced the
The typical,
rope
like,
you up, hang you racism.
right.
You feel
Right.
what I'm saying? I
Right.
have had a guy. Okay, I was a salesman at Walmart in the electronics department.
Mm-hmm.
He asked me about this is when track phones was out. If you remember that, it was like one of the first prepaid cell phones. You know what I mean? The little small square
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
You know, all the numbers on the front. It wasn't flipped with the little bitty screen.
Yep.
Right.
And I showed a guy this phone. He was like, I need a prepaid phone. What you got? So I went through blah blah blah. Showed him all the phones. You know, and I've always been in sales, retail,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. But now I work in the industrial field. But
Right.
you know, after he picked one of the phones that I showed him, and he was like, "Man, you're pretty cool for a black guy."
Right. And
And
see,
I was like, "Wow, like
and
this,
that's
like
when,
what you mean for a black guy? Like you
Right.
mean to
right.
tell me that I
Because
don't
you
have enough
good.
intellect to sell you a phone?"
Right. A
Yep.
phone.
Because you was being judged before he even knew
Before it
you.
started, and then I
Yep.
blew his fucking mind.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and guess
Yep.
what? Every time that man came back to the store, I wasn't fond of him because of what he said, but
Right.
I still had to capture the sale because when
Right.
it come down to it, a racist person, I take his money spent just like a non-racist person.
Right.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, when I saw him, I captured him. Yeah, what's up, man? Blah blah blah. Yeah, get this, get that, blah blah. You know, and we move on with our day.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
not playing with him. Like yeah,
Right.
Yep.
And with that being said, like how you were saying, you never experienced that sort of, the typical, I don't want to say traditional, but what categorize like the main racism, like being called the N-word, like things like that. But I'm pretty sure there's situations that you've been in, whether it be at the doctor or the gas station or wherever you were, that you knew that situation only occurred because you
Right.
were black.
right.
And I feel like the majority of us, that's what we have to deal with on a daily basis, because I've been called the N-word before, but 9 times out of 10 the racism that I'm having to deal with is things like that. Is that, palm colored person walking past me when they're getting out of their car and they're hitting their car alarm 2-3 times,
Right,
or
right.
going into a store and being, oh, can I help you? And if I need your help, I'll call you. And they're still on your ass going around the whole store, or being stopped when you walk out of Walmart and they want to check your receipt, but let other people walk
Bro.
out,
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
I don't
think,
play that receipt thing. Like
yeah,
if you're gonna check mine, make sure you check this person behind me. I say something though,
yeah,
because I feel like if you don't say nothing, that's when it continues.
yeah,
So if you say
it does,
something, you put it on their mind. You feel what I'm
right,
Yep.
saying?
Every
And
time I go, yeah, every time I go into a place or restaurant to order food, I'm always the first person. You need help? You need help? You need help? All the time.
hmm,
All the time.
yeah,
It's crazy.
it's this is another experience because
And I'm
I've
like,
had, like I said, I had some racist experiences, but I was in the eighth grade and we stayed in an apartment complex, and next door was a white family, and they had a daughter my age. Like we were
hmm,
both like what would it be 13 in eighth grade, 12, 13.
Yeah, 12,
Uh,
13.
and we was cool. Like after school, we didn't see each other in school because I was AP classes and she was
Right.
regular. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But you know what I'm saying? Like we was cool. Like we get off school, go jump in the swimming pool. Like it wasn't nothing like boyfriend, girlfriend. She just was a cool, person, and we hung out a lot. And like one time she was like, "Come on, we can go get." I think we played like softball. Like we had a big field that we used to just play softball, like
Yeah.
9-on-9, a bunch of kids, and we had the full bullpen and everything doing this. It was
Right.
fun
Right.
back then. And
The
so
good.
after the game, she was like, "I'm gonna get some water. Come on." So I followed her. She walked out. She said, "Come on, we can get some water right here." Mind you, I was just next door, but she was
Right.
like, we kids. So I walked in and like, it was cool. They gave me the water and stuff. But her dad brought her like to the restroom and said like, get his ass out of here. I don't want, no
Ooh.
black people in there. So I heard it though, but
Oh,
I softly heard it. But she came
right.
out and confirmed what he said. She was
You
like, he don't like you because
Wait, what you
he
hearing
don't
that?
like you because you black. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
What you hearing that as a little kid? How would that make you feel when she was told to tell you to
Or you
get?
just overheard him saying,
like I say, I've never felt I've never been in a position where I was just like down.
right.
Like I gotta lose my brother or immediate family member to just feel down. You know what I mean?
Right.
Did
So
that
I was like, cool. He can't whoop me.
Right.
right? Did that
Yes,
make?
but I was a terrible, not bad kid, but I was stiff. I wasn't a bad kid terrorizing the neighborhood, but I was stiff. You know what I
Did
mean? Like
you
that.
feel like you couldn't like be around her no more, or
No, we still like it never was an issue with her hanging and playing because I guess
Just
oh
he
not
wasn't the type of daddy that like, hey, where you at? Like we just was
right.
out
yeah,
running about the neighborhood. Like I say, we had a big field in the back of the complex where we just go play all type of sports and stuff
Right.
like that. And then we had we had two swimming pools in the complex. So we was
Mhm.
in either one of those. And he never like was outside trying to find his daughter type.
Right.
mhm,
So it was more like,
But when I came into his comfort zone,
right.
right.
that's what made him, you know what I'm saying? When somebody invades your privacy or your comfort, we all
Angie,
have those
she
type
said
of
you was.
feelings, right?
Angie said you were bad.
We
Yeah,
highlight
I was bad. Like I say, I was a bad kid, but I wasn't like a terrorize. Like I didn't terrorize neighborhoods or
we
go
put
on
comment on this.
killing and stuff like that. But
Angie blasted you out. We gotta highlight that comment.
yeah, I was bad, but I wasn't bad. Like how they say, if you say it twice, you really mean it. I wasn't bad.
He's just bad.
Yeah, I was just bad, not bad.
You are the
Not like you had to stay out in not detention bad. Just
right.
when I was at home, like anything goes. Like we trying to
Right.
have some fun out here. That's the kind of bad. You know what I mean?
So mischievous. That's a better word
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, mischievous. Like I was just trying to find stuff out. Like what
Right.
does this do? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
you're being mischievous.
Yeah.
So with that being said, even though you said that didn't affect you mentally, do you feel like it made you recognize the difference? Because I feel like in saying that, I feel like racism is something that we learned. Like I didn't have an understanding of what it meant up to a certain point in my life of
do
what
you
it
do you
meant.
know do you know how it affected me? And I can say this.
Mhm.
She was the only white like female friend I had until like after
Mm.
school. So I guess it did affect me mentally a little
And
bit
I was gonna say, did you
because
feel that
she's the only white person at that time that I was like, and female too. You got to remember it's bracketed. It's like white person and male or female. Like
right,
Yeah,
most likely a black man isn't
right,
going to befriend a white female.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean? So, but that was like the only one I could recall going through high school and college and probably until my 30s probably 28ish because another uh, white lady I was introduced to, we actually dated a little bit and she was
yeah,
cool, you know what I'm saying? But it didn't happen again until that moment when I was like
right.
27, 28, something like that.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
And do you
so
feel
that's from
that was
13 to
that?
28, that many years, you know?
Do you feel like that was because of that
I
interaction?
really do. Like,
Yeah,
but unconsciously, Like I
Right.
never like never like said
Exactly.
like I ain't never mess with no
Right.
white girl again or talk,
Right.
and
Mhm.
not like I say, she was just a cool friend, like a homeboy, but she was a
Right.
white girl. We
Right.
played baseball together, and she was cold though. She like sliding to second base and stuff. So I'm like, man, she cool. Like, yeah, she on
Right.
my team. She was that
Right.
kind of person. But
Right.
since then, I was, unconsciously, I didn't befriend anyone else,
Right.
uh, uh, female. I had a bunch of white friends, males, but
Right.
white female, I kind of almost ignore them. You know, if you don't want to deal with nothing, you just ignore it. Like that's what
Right.
happened, and
Right.
that's mental. That's
Right.
totally mental.
Exactly.
It affected me.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you, what is it? Cart Compartmentalize. I can compartmentalize it.
Compartmentalize. Yeah, that's
You
my favorite
know,
word of the day. Is
Mhm.
oh, you got to do the sound for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
word of the day. That's what you need to do on each
Oh,
episode. You need a word of the day.
okay,
You feel me? And,
cart
and play like a loud bullhorn when you say it. Every time you
compartmentalize.
say
There
it,
we go.
bullhorn.
Yeah, hit the. I can't even do it. But yeah, I feel like that. And I feel like that happens to us as a community more than not. And that's why it turns into like, well, things like, well, I don't have mental health issues because it's something that we put away and just like, it makes us feel some type of way. It innately causes us to move a certain way after that we don't even recognize, but it's not something that we dwell on, not always, that allows us to not be able to function throughout our lives. We just have that understanding. Like I was saying, up until a certain age, I didn't have the understanding of color. And I think that's with all of us as humans, period. You don't get that understanding of separation until you are introduced to that, whether it be by a family member or somebody in the public. And I feel like with us in the Black community, exactly what Renee said, we're
Yeah.
used to it, and I feel like that is 100% true. You just get used to it, like that is just the norm, and it's not. To have to hear that as a child, the first time that I was called the N word, I want to say I was like 8, 9, and it was a white family that was living in my uncle's apartment complex, and the kids were calling us that, and they were throwing rocks at us. And so my uncle took us to the kids' house to talk to the parents, like, hey, this is what was going on. And the parents were doing the same thing. Get out of here, you N-word. And so that, for me, that was traumatic
Wow.
for me to see another adult conducting themselves in such a way, being so angry like that, because they were upset that my uncle was sticking up for us, for them calling us derogatory names, and it was then for me that I realized that I was Black, so to
Yeah.
speak. I learned the difference, like, oh, okay, so I'm Black, you're white, and that's what it is. I didn't allow that to affect how I navigated through my life, but it definitely made a difference. It definitely makes a difference when, like you said, when you were dating that white woman. I've had instances where I've had men that wanted to date me, you know, before I was married, of
Hold
course.
up, hold up. Let's not make Calvin mad. Now,
I,
let's not make Calvin
I,
mad.
I was gonna say
Hold up, man. What you talking about dating? Hold
in
up,
my,
to
man.
take that easy.
in my teen years before I was married, but they,
I had to
being
I
being
just started shit.
fetishized like that,
grab a fish.
fetishized like that, like, oh, I've never been with the Black girl before. I've always wanted to be, and just the feeling of how that makes you feel when somebody is treating you like you're some sort of fetish, like, oh, I've never been with the Black person before, and I've always wanted to try it. That's on my bucket list. So, like, that's
Uh,
to,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Can I say something
yeah,
because I feel bad about it? But when I dated the white girl, it was because of what we put in place. Like the white girl gonna take care of you, do this and blah blah blah. So like one that liked me, I jumped all over. But you feel what I'm saying? Like it,
I
like you
do.
said, the white guy. Like I never been with a white guy. I was like,
Right.
shit, I ain't never been with a white girl. I'm gonna have to go
Right.
ahead and, and that's terrible. That's terrible. Instead of just being with the person because of the type of person
Right.
they are, it was just she was white and I wanted to try it. Is that bad, JC? Is that bad? We need JC in here, man. He write books. I know he got something to say. JC, you want to jump in, babe? But look, I'm just saying, man. Lord have mercy.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what it is, man.
it happens.
I'm here to tell the truth, so that's what I'm
Right.
doing. So
Yeah, it's the truth, man.
it
Yeah.
just my goodness. What Angie's saying right there?
I raised my kids not to see color, but to see men and women and respect all people. My grandkids didn't realize their step grandpa was black. And I think that's, that's important. And I feel like, it's, I don't want to say, because I've met some racist black people. My aunt is one of them. She is like down and out, but I feel like it's more common outward in our community than it is inward, if that makes sense.
I got something to say about that too. Shout out to Lisa in the chat. They didn't realize that grandpa was black until he cooked a pot of chitlins. Then they gonna be like,
Right.
you feel me?
Right.
Oh man,
It's going.
I
Man,
realize.
y'all go follow me, man. Y'all go follow me. Flatboy Plays on YouTube. Go follow me. I put the link in the chat. Go ahead and follow your boy, man. I'm a gaming content creator.
Boy Play.
Go and follow him.
Yeah, he's real dope gamer. He does his
Yeah,
thing.
I do gaming content, but we talk about stuff like this. So
Yeah.
in between games, we talk about stuff like this. I put the big screen up and we talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have real issues, but then like I play video games and I make great content. So it's fun, is whatever. Just follow me. You'll see.
Yep.
And well, okay, damn. I lost Angie's comment.
Oh, where she was talking about the
Kid in the daycare.
the raising the grandkids. There it is. That one. Or the
Well, it was another daycare.
a kid at their daycare.
Asked if their papa was black, and they said no, he is Papa Kennedy. See, that's
Oh, and this one. Hold on, we gotta highlight that one too because
that's how you have to train your kids.
Right.
I mean, what does it matter? Especially when you train it to kids and they ask the question, is he black or is he white? Or because if you put a whole bunch of ethnicities to that of kids at the park, say there's a whole bunch of different races of kids at the park, right?
Right.
90% of them don't care what color you are. They want to know if you can push them on the swing.
Right.
But there's a mix of about 10% that parents have told them, you play with the white kids,
right?
You play with them black kids out there, and that's the issue because the most of the world isn't racist. It's just the ones that get the most attention.
Yep, that's a fact. So with that being said, that touches on that because we can do all we can to teach our kids that, but how do you prepare them for that world when they will run into that? How do you teach them how to deal with that instance where they're overhearing their white friend's father say, get his black whatever out of here. He can't come back. How do we teach them that? What do we say to them so they are not in turn doing what we did and internalizing that and training our minds that is just what we have to deal with being black?
That's a good question for the chat. Quick comment. How do we teach our kids
Hey Nika
to ignore or not be racist? To not entertain racism.
Or the racists. How do we teach our kids to work through that? Because they're gonna have those
or say better for society,
how do we teach our kids not to I can't even carpet. Help me out.
What?
Compartmentalize somebody.
Compartmentalize. Wah, 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 wah,
There
wah,
you
wah, wah, wah.
The word of the day. I can't even say it. How do we teach our children not to do that? And how do we have that conversation with them to prepare them for that, or when that happens, instead of just doing what we did and just brushing it off and putting it away somewhere and not realizing that that affects how we navigate through our lives going forward.
Yeah, the matter of fact, yeah, chat participate in this. I'm very interested in some of y'all's answers.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you doing? What are you doing to teach your kid simply to not be racist or not see? I'm not gonna say not see color
Or
because
to be racist versus
Right. Or to stand up for themselves when it comes to the racism that they are going to come into contact with.
Sooner or later.
Because at some point in time in their Black lives, they are going to experience some form of racism. So for the chat, what are you doing, or what can you do to teach your children how to deal with that in a way that's going to help them navigate that and not just
Come on, don't use it so many times.
The word of the day is
compartmentalize.
I can't even say it. Not tuck it away and just, train themselves to believe that that is just what they have to deal with.
Okay.
So let's see, Miss Renee. She said it's hard for my kids because they already experienced it, and like I told them, we are mixed and everybody isn't like that.
And it's crazy because they're young, for them to experience that at that age shows what type of place, not the place that their parent put them in, but the place of other, area that they are put in, for themselves, because they shouldn't experience that at that young of an age.
But this is America.
So you're saying not from the household, but from the outside they've experienced.
Yeah, from the outside.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a good thing to be able to say. What Renee said is just telling them that everybody isn't like that. That brings me to that instance where, go ahead.
So, okay.
What you think?
No, it's just okay. They experienced it at school or whatever.
So at school, see?
Yeah, that's what she said.
But no. But we saying like, what did you did you tell them anything at the house before they experienced that? You know what I mean? Like, what did you do? Even though they went to school or whatever store and experienced it, did you at least before, when a kid becomes, comes to the point where he can understand what you're saying.
Like, this might happen to you.
I'm sorry, I'm animated. I'm animated. I'm sorry. But.
Yeah, is that what you're saying though?
Like, you're saying, like, did she teach them to prepare for those moments, or did she talk to them after those moments happened already? Is that what you're
put her comment right
well,
there?
she's saying we didn't have to because we're mixed, but
no, she said
like white father. I mean, not necessarily the makeup of how you're mixed, but you're saying just because you had like white people in your family already that they naturally processed, which can happen.
No. She said that she told them that the family is mixed and not everybody is like that.
Right.
When they came to her with those experiences, she told them like, "Oh, everybody's not like that, and we got, white people in our family." Type.
Right, absolutely, I got you. Yeah, I wasn't disagreeing. I was just clarifying. That's all.
No, it's all good. I want to highlight Miss Lily Pope. Let's see. She said it's the honesty for me. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, for me, I love people in general, but honestly, I think allowing the kids to see others like them, build them up, teach them more, or raw history. And I agree with that 100%.
That's real good.
That's a good comment,
Real
Lily.
good comment.
Really, because it really it prepares them. And I don't honestly, I do not like to go back and learn about our history of African Americans in this country. I'll just say that, being honest, because it puts me mentally in a mind frame to be very angry, because you really start to understand just what our ancestors and the people that came before us had to deal with, so we can even get to the point to where we're at. But I think what you're saying, that is a great thing to do, is to educate our children on our history and to also build them up.
Okay. So can I play the other side?
Yes, sir. Play the devil's advocate.
Lily, I love you. Lily, I love you. I love everybody in the chat. This has been a great experience for me, and I've never been in a situation where I had to talk about things that I don't normally talk about. Like, I always tuck
that comment,
mental issues and stuff like that. I tuck stuff like that in. You feel me? So
right.
She said, but honestly, I think allowing the kids to see others like them. You mean like as in
skin folks?
Yeah.
If you got black kids, let them see other black kids, or let them jump in there with everybody.
Right.
Like okay, my situation is with my kids. It's like, I never been like, I've never been derogatory towards another race in front of them, or talk about other races bad toward them. And I think that alone has them in a space where they can co-op with other people and races, creeds, whatever. And teaching them the raw history of black people will infuriate you.
Right.
It pisses me off.
It pisses me off. I agree.
You feel what I'm saying?
But you just
that. But I also, I know the history or whatever. But I'm the type of mind. I got the type of mindset where I can compartmentalize. Womp womp womp. You feel me? Like, I can hold these feelings back when I'm in front of certain people, and I don't take it out on nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it wasn't that person. That's another race that did it to me.
Right.
But your ancestors, motherfucker, fucked us off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't take it out on that person. You know what I mean?
The people
great comment, Lily.
Country.
Great comment.
Yeah, that was a really good comment. Let me read what Angie said here. She said, my kids would ask about a black man or a white man over there. I asked them, the man in the red shirt. They said, yes, that man. My kids said they learned more from how I treated and talked. I believe that's going to say to them. But yeah, that's good too, Angie. That's really good to, be able to, talk to all people, not just in public, but private as well. And I think that makes a difference as well. That is, and I don't even feel like it's just preparing them for, what could happen as far as racism, but what can also happen as far as colorism goes. It's important that we as a community, since Angie said that, that brings me to that, to be able to have those conversations of not, putting us against each other, like with the whole colorism thing. Like when I did that video, to hear that so many times, like, oh, you're really pretty for being dark skinned, or, oh, he's fine because he's light skinned, making sure that we're doing our part to not only, educate and prepare our children for the racism that they're going to face going out into the world, but the colorism that they are going to face within their own community, because that happens a lot too.
Now, come on, Black. Come on, Black.
Now,
be honest with me. Hold on, Calvin. Hold on. My bad. Black. You picked Calvin because he light skinned.
I did.
Let's see that.
Yeah, no, but let
Like
me
I'm lost. I'm lost now. I'm
Good.
lost.
Like I was a good man,
Everything I learned, I just unlearned it.
good man, and I still am,
that is
and I
true.
still am.
But let me tell you why. This is why, though. I didn't just look at him and say he's light skinned. I want to be with him. In all honesty, I did not, in my community where I grew up, dark skinned men were not interested in me. And they made it clear that they did not want to have anything to do with me. Calvin is actually the first black man that I ever dated or had a serious relationship with. Outside of that, it was outside of my black race. It was always Hispanic men. Because, like I said, black men, especially dark skinned black men, they did not want to have anything to do with me. I was always too dark, too burnt, too chocolate. And so they weren't interested in me. And Calvin was the first black man that was interested in me. And he has not left me alone ever since. It's been almost 18 years and he won't go away.
Wow.
That's some
He
bullshit.
won't go away. But don't y'all see why these conversations can be fun, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
we don't even agree on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything makes sense, right?
Yeah,
Everything makes sense, and that's all we're shooting for is trying to find a platform to where we can talk about everything. We don't all have to agree with each other on these topics,
right.
but we just have to put them out to where we can talk about them and
Wow.
not like
Hmm.
I like y'all. Just because we
Right,
disagree on the subject don't mean that y'all ain't shit. You feel me?
right.
It's actually building because it's giving me another viewpoint. It's giving me
Exactly.
another way to look at things because
Yeah,
I felt the way I felt because I feel that way. You feel
right.
me? But y'all bringing it to the light that I to a point to where, okay, I can see where you're coming from. And then the
Mhm.
comments in chat,
Right.
real quick, Rena says everyone needs to watch the documentary Hidden
Hidden.
Colors. Is that
Yeah.
on YouTube or like let us know where we can
Renee.
catch that?
And it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Renee.
Renee.
Yeah. Miss
Okay.
Renee, you want to elaborate on where we can find that documentary? And then on uh, this, here it goes, the Hidden Colors. Let us know where we can find that. And then I wanted to read, she said it's on YouTube. Okay. And I wanted to read her comment as well. She said that she had a black woman tell her that she was too light, So again, I feel like it definitely goes both ways. And it's definitely something that we need to, be mindful of as well, because that's not doing our community any good either. And it
And
does.
she also said, what about not being black enough or white enough?
Hmm.
She just doubled down, but uh I need to hear this from y'all because I have not experienced that. Like I never thought somebody was too black or you're too
Right.
white. Like because
Right.
I just never judge people like that.
Right.
I'm interested.
Right. Or even maybe even
Now,
had those experiences. Because like I said, the community that I grew up in, we're out west, but the black population is slim to none here anyway,
Right.
So we're used to going places, and you go to one part of the state in our state and you get a cluster of black people, and then you can drive out 30 minutes and there's no black people, so the charger part's over here. So it oh no, I think it needs to be plugged in.
yeah,
Sorry,
that's right.
our computer's dying. But yeah, colorism. Um, I just feel like it goes both ways, and I kind of lost my train of thought because I'm trying to plug in my computer before it dies. But yeah, um, Renee, do you want to elaborate more on what you mean by not being black enough or white enough? I'll let you take the floor.
Yeah, yeah. Put that in a give us an example or lead us up to when that lady told you she was too light. Because I'm so interested in that. Because
Okay.
It was,
comments and stuff like that don't make no sense to me. How people can tell another person that you
Right.
aren't this or you aren't that, and did she know you or you know what I mean? Like,
we can
Okay.
get further.
So,
give us some
so Renee,
insight on
you
that.
want to
Or you want to give it?
elaborate on
No, you
that?
don't need to.
Oh, look,
Um,
Angie. Angie says, you know, I'm more attracted to darker men than lighter or white men. Angie
mm,
like black people.
yeah. Hey,
she,
Angie. Angie's
she
invited to the barbecue.
yeah, she lives in my hometown, and I can vouch for that. Like
Yeah.
she like black men, but she real cool. She my moderator on my channels, and yeah, but I can tell you if she bullshitting you or not. So she better come correct. You feel
Uh,
me?
And she
Angie
telling
seemed
on
like
you
she
with
was
your
cool.
badass when you was a kid.
Well, I was bad, but you know, she better not say nothing too crazy. I end the stream and I'll be knocking on her door.
Uh-oh, Angie,
You
watch
feel me?
out.
But nah, she been cool. She a family friend, and you
Nice.
know, we've been rocking and rolling. The drinks on me. You feel me?
Nice, nice. So I don't know if Renee, if you're still typing, Platboy wanted you to elaborate more on what you meant by the comment. What about not being black
Black
enough
enough.
or white enough? So he was asking if you could go into more detail about when you said that black woman told you you were too light.
Yeah, like what? Like, did she know you, or like what situation led up to, or was it a random comment, or like what were y'all doing at the time when she say, you too black, you're not, you too light, you're not black enough, or something like that. Like I'm very interested in that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. And then we got Shanika in the building, right? What about that? Okay. She was asking about the black enough or white enough. Okay, yeah, that's we interested in that. I'm with it. And ain't shit funny, Angie. Yeah, but also y'all, this is what y'all can do while we waiting on Renee to say something. Make sure y'all share this stream and this channel, Black
Yeah.
Vision Ville. They got a good thing going on. We got 9 in the chat. That
Please.
is dope. Like share it. Like copy, paste, share it on your Facebook, your
Tell your family,
Instagram.
tell your
Like
friends.
yeah, tell your people about it, man. Let's grow this channel. Let's help them out. Let's get going. And this ain't my last time
Yeah. Please
coming
share
here.
the chat.
Yeah, make sure y'all
Yes,
sharing
please.
this, hitting the like button, all this stuff.
Absolutely. We would love to have you back for sure. And it looks like
Uh, we're gonna.
Renee did just chime in, so let's hear what she had to say, and then we're gonna get ready to end it here.
Mhm.
But I do want to pin what she had to say. She said, "I had a dark skinned woman tell me that I wasn't black, and our mom was dark skinned. I didn't even know this woman." So she were saying that you were too light to be your
Black.
mother's child or to be black. Is that what you're saying? I
I
just want to
believe. I
make
believe
sure.
that's exactly what she's.
But that's wild though. Like that's
Yeah. And I have experienced that as well because
mhm.
my oldest daughter, she is Hispanic and black. When she was younger, she looked more Hispanic than she did black. So for that, I got that a lot too. When she was born at the hospital, I had the nurses
Say,
double
is this your
checking
daughter?
our wristbands because they were like, this baby looks Hispanic. There's
Yeah.
no way this baby just came out of you. So they were like, double checking our wristbands to see if they had in fact put the right baby in the room because of that. So I completely understand where Hug is coming from. There's even times to Renee, sorry, we call her Hug, that's our sister, but that, where she's coming from, there's even been times now where my poor daughter has been fighting for her life on social media because she's like, my mom is black, and they're like, you're lying, your mom is not black, you look Mexican. And then she's showing them pictures and they're like,
That's because she
nah,
looks like
that's
me
not your
now.
mom. But she, if you really look at her, she's a spitting image of me. She's just light skinned, So I understand. I understand that. And let me see what Angie said real quick. She said that Platt has his first cousin that is as white as me.
She ain't lying.
Yeah, and
I'm
that's
talking
just
about pale. I'm talking about like you saw the movie Powder.
uh-huh.
Yeah, she's white, but
Yeah.
she both her parents are black as hell. So it's
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's just like Calvin's dad. Calvin's dad's mother is white. And
yeah,
that's what Renee was saying that because Renee is Calvin's sister, my
hmm
But
sister-in-law. But yeah, she's saying
but my
our dad
mom,
is
yeah.
mixed and their mom is chocolate like me. But you know, you see how they came out. They came out light, you know. So
Yeah.
it just depends, but we are going to get ready to end this chat. Platboy plays, I
And
appreciate you
y'all come in the building tomorrow.
because we going to be
We're
doing
gonna
it
be
again with
live with
another
another
special
special
guest.
guest. Doing our thing, and YouTube plat come
Tune
through. Well,
in.
you can whenever,
yeah,
but
yeah.
Please.
If y'all need me, just tell me. I'll be here. I'm
Yes,
off
sir.
for 8 days.
Oh,
nice.
nice.
So
Okay, we
yeah,
might
we
have to
chilling.
have you again during your vacation time.
Yeah, it's up there. You feel me? And the most important thing when we're doing stuff like this, like
Mhm.
becoming content creators, we can't do it if people don't participate, if
Right.
people don't like hit the like button every time you come in. Like that's normal. It's like you're knocking on our door to come in. You feel me?
Right.
So
Exactly.
make sure you hit the like button.
So
Make
all
sure
10 of
you
you in
share.
chat, please smash that like
Hit the
button.
like button.
It's free.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
cost
Share
anything.
and
It's
subscribe.
right there up top. You can do it with no problem.
Right.
Follow Platboy Plays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And again, thank you all who came to show your support and participated in the chat. We greatly appreciate you all, and we will be
Don't forget
back
to
here tomorrow. And again, please remember that we are a community, that we are we got, and we need to be strong mentally to keep going through, to get through. And thank you all for your time, and thank you for stopping by. And yeah.
Go follow the Playboy, baby, man. Come on now. Don't bullshit yourself. Treat yourself, man. God damn. Don't
Yes,
like
sir.
in the stream, but stay in the app for a second.
Okay, that sounds good. All right,
Hey,
thank you all.
thank y'all very much. Thank y'all.
Thank you all for stopping by. Have a great night,
Thanks,
everybody.
y'all. Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.
See y'all tomorrow.
Peace.
Come back tomorrow.
Same
Come
time.
back, baby. Come back, goddamn it.